Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the inplayLIVE podcast. It's Tuesday, November 24th. Why is that important? Because tomorrow is the kickoff for NCAA Basketball. So we thought we'd do a little primer preview, and we've got some exciting news for everyone in the community and everyone who's been kind of following along about the introduction of inplayLIVE Pro. And we're going to bring Kenny onto the show today again. He's a basketball wizard, and so he's going to share some knowledge and tell you about his masterclass and give us a bit of a primer for tomorrow's onslaught of, is it 100?
I think 130.
130 NCAA basketball games. That might be a record for the most games played in one day, but I can't verify that. Anyways, let's get Kenny on right away, and we'll just get right into it.
What's up, Kenny?
Hey, how you doing, Andrew?
Never been better, buddy. You?
Good. I'm stoked for tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a fun day. It's a lot of basketball, a lot of opportunities, and everything. I'm looking forward to it.
You look ready from the backdrop there.
I am.
That's wicked, Kenny. So I mean, we touched on this in chatting beforehand, but it's kind of our understanding that you are a bit of a NCAA basketball pro. It's one of your favorite sports to follow and to wager on.
Absolutely, basketball in general, but NCAA is a lot of fun. I love college basketball rather over the NBA. Just a lot more defense. There actually is defense versus NBA. But it's just a fun sport. I've always loved watching NCAA basketball, and now just be able to master it the way I have just makes it all that much more fun to be able to profit on it as well.
Yeah, it feels like also the intensity in college basketball, especially when you get into the tournament formats or those big rivalry matchups. You know, you've got the crowded little arenas with like 10, 15,000 people packed in right on top of the floor. You've got just these young kids, you know, with huge stakes on the line. It feels like just super dramatic. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but from what I've seen.
I think with COVID, one of the things that's tough is obviously the whole no fans things, and obviously some people are trying to work around it, and other people are saying it's not worth it, and, you know, to each their own. But one of the coolest things about NCAA basketball is that the crowd is way more into it than the NBA, right? And you've got people cheering on defense like it's a football game.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's
exactly.
Of the whole crowd on every defensive possession, which is a lot of work as a fan.
Yeah.
Like you're really there for your team in those moments,
Yeah,
right?
and that's got to be impactful if you're trying to shoot with people yelling at you, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're just running a route down the field or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Kenny, what would you say, like a couple of your favorite parts about college hoops over the NBA even?
I mean, we mostly touched on it. I just love it, and I love that it's just a more fundamental game. Not everybody's playing above the rim and everything. It's just more fundamental basketball. To be honest, I actually kind of like WNBA as well. I'm one of the few people that watch the WNBA as well, just because it's kind of a more fundamental basketball over the NBA.
Just like team defense and more passing and. Obviously I don't think they're quite as effective shooting percentages, so a bit more chaos.
From a sports betting standpoint, one of the things that's really cool is the NBA has such a remarkable level of unprecedented talent. You see these freak athletes like LeBron James, like Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, the list goes on, of course. And you see their ability to take over a game. And then that's obviously why they make the money that they do and are so worshipped around the world in their craft. With NCAA basketball, there's 340 Div 1 NCAA teams, right?
Yeah. Which
you got to let that sink in. How many players are on each roster, right? Yeah. 50-ish players on each roster, give or take. Maybe it's 30, right? But you have thousands and thousands of players, and there is that same athleticism, but overall as a whole, you lack that raw talent, which is what Kenny's touching on, obviously, with regards to the game being more fundamental. But that's why you see full court press defense, which you never see in the NBA ever, right? Ever. That's why you see these really holy crap! Look at all the defenders; they look like synchronized swimmers on their zone defense, right?
Yeah.
And like Kenny said, much more fundamental, a lot of defensive intensity. And especially when it comes to March Madness, there's no series to be played. It's all on the line on that one game every single time you step on the court. So the intensity is pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, and I think coaches are a lot more impactful in the college level with their systems, and that's why some of the college coaches in basketball are the most renowned in the world,
right?
All across any sport, right?
Totally.
So that's pretty exciting. Kenny, what are some of the things that you look at college basketball for opportunities to wager on, without giving away too much of the secret sauce? What's exciting about college basketball if you're a sports bettor that's never really dipped into it?
Basically because there's so many points scored, and some of the sports books they all have flaws. Every sports book, the way their algorithms are set up, they have flaws. And basically what I try to do is I can find ways to exploit those flaws. And I wrote proprietary software that's available through the inplayLIVE Pro membership that I make available to all of the members, which I'll be launching for the first time tomorrow for opening NCAA. And I'll be improving that over the course of the months, adding more books so we can find more flaws for NBA, and it'll work for NBA and NCAA to just try to really exploit the flaws that each of the sports books have in their algorithms.
Okay, yeah, cool. And maybe just touch on, is it like football that you're following the whole game, or are you kind of taking a bit of a different approach with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with NCAA, it gets really, really unpredictable at the end of the game. So I focus more on NCAA basketball in the first half, just because at the end of the game, a team could be down 12 and they're still fouling, and then they score another. The team that was minus 13 now wins by 25 because the other team fouled a bunch of times, or the other team may opt not to foul, and then they only end up winning by 6 or 7. So it's too unpredictable at the end of the game just because of the foul element. NBA doesn't have it as much, but NCAA has that. Makes the total end of the game completely unpredictable, whether the coach wants to foul down double digits with no chance to really win, but he's still fouling with 35 seconds.
Yeah, because maybe he's concerned about the loss differential number for his division or some sort of stuff like that, which I think presents opportunities both ways, right? When it comes to sports betting, one of the biggest things that we profit off of is recognizing motivations.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Kenny's big on this. We made a boatload of money at the end of the New England Patriots game against the San Francisco 49ers because the sportsbook algorithm handicaps underdogs that are in a blowout game very likely to score, when Bill Belichick's motivation was, let's get the hell out of here and go home. And we look at all the different areas of the book and go, where can we actually capitalize on the fact that this team has already, from a motivational standpoint, left the building. The starters aren't in, the backups are in, and the sportsbook algorithm has no clue how to handicap that, because just as easily, they could be trying to save face.
Yeah.
And gunning for a final score, and a potentially easy one against the 49ers backups. And with NCAA basketball, if you don't know what you're doing, and if you're not following the league, you don't know if those teams are going to foul, why they're going to foul down 10. Whereas in the NBA, you would never see someone foul at the end of the game down 10. Never, ever, ever, because it doesn't matter. Yeah. There's no significance there. There's no relevance, right?
Yeah, and there's an interesting mix of, are they pulling out their veteran players? Are they putting in some freshmen? Where are the motivations changing? The effectiveness of the team changing there?
Right.
That's something I think you have to hyper monitor, but that's probably part of why Kenny, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but you're saying sometimes you'll tend to steer away from that because you don't know if these kids are coming off the bench looking to prove themselves, or if they're just going to come out and absolutely flop it, or what, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's why my main focus in NCAA really just sticks to the first half. Unless it's a major blowout game, like 20-plus points, then I may start looking at final scores. But for the most part, I only watch the first half of NCAA games. Then I change the channel and go to the next slate of games that starts up. That's the beauty of NCAA. You don't necessarily have to watch the entire game to make money. The games are only last 2 to 2.5 hours tops.
Yeah.
So there's slates of games on at noon, then 1, then 2, then 3, like every hour. there's going to be a new slate of halftimes.
10 more games.
And from that same standpoint, right? Like we said, there's 130 games on tomorrow. You can see the backdrop here if you're watching us on YouTube. There's 6 TVs there. Look at Kenny's backdrop there. He's not showing all his TVs, but neither of us have 130 TVs.
Now, how many eyes would you
right?
need to
And
that too?
like from that standpoint, you know, there's a lot to cover to kind of unpack from that sort of statement. But Kenny's talking about flaws in the algorithms. We're talking about player motivations. Flaws in the algorithm don't necessarily require you to be watching the game, whereas player motivations and what's going on in the game require you to be entirely plugged into the game.
Yeah.
And I think one of the cool things about sports betting is, let's say you're a sports betting professional, you're watching this podcast right now, or listening to this podcast, and you hear that from Kenny, and you're like, well, what the hell is he doing? And I think the point is that there are so many different... Most people don't make money betting on sports, but a lot of people do, and there's so many different ways that you can effectively do it, right? And Kenny's system, like he said, he's focusing on the first half of NCAA basketball, and he did mention inplayLIVE Pro, which is Kenny's new premium tier of inplayLIVE, where you can actually live stream with Kenny, wager with him as he's wagering, and get access to that proprietary software, as well as other professionals at inplayLIVE Pro, so that you get access to all these different, you know, arsenals to add to your tool belt, so that whether you're a new sports bettor, a veteran loser, or a pro, you're getting access to new ways and new opportunities, and you can choose if you want to kind of put them in your tool belt or not. And one of the things that's really cool about Kenny is Kenny became a member of inplayLIVE, right, Kenny?
Absolutely.
He was a pro long before that, and he was looking to sharpen his tool belt. He has learned new techniques and strategies. Kenny had a really good day on Saturday with some of our strategies, right? And then
absolutely.
Right? And then you live streamed on Sunday, and you gave us a whole bunch of your strategies. I think we went 4 for 4 in the afternoon games on big wagers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I took some team totals and things. Yeah, I think I went undefeated in the 4 o'clock hour, in the late card hour, depending on
for NFL, right? And I think the point is there are a lot of different ways to be effective as a sports bettor, and with inplayLIVE Pro, we're now giving people that opportunity to meet with new professionals, not just me, and learn from them, which has been awesome for me. Number one, because Kenny came up and through the community, so we've essentially hired him from within. And number two, I actually learned a bunch of stuff, which since I started with inplayLIVE, the community has helped a ton. There's no question about that. But I feel like after watching Kenny's masterclass on NCAA basketball, now I'm like, hey, that's something I wasn't doing. This is an amazing, relatively low risk, high opportunity value wager system that he has. And yeah, with 130 games on, you're one person, I'm one person. How the hell can you monitor 130 games on one book, let alone on 5? And that's where, you know, he's got this amazing software to help us all out so that we can identify, like I said, these low risk, high opportunity value wagers that when you apply a large sample size to are going to make us money over time, right, Kenny?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter.
The majority of my wagers, you're getting anywhere from plus 1,000 to plus 2,000 odds. So you're getting 10 to 20 to 1 on almost every wager I make.
Wow.
And I hit at a clip of nearly 25%.
Yeah, and I think to that note, I answered a DM from someone just last night, and I get this one all the time. What's your record? What's your record? What's your record? And it's like they want people to tell them like that your record's like 90% or something like that. And it's like people want to be lied to in this industry, and they ask questions to set themselves up for a lie. And if I respond to someone, if Kenny responds and he says my record's 25%, they're going to be like, well, I'm not buying your product, right? And
exactly.
right, and meanwhile, he just said if you're hitting 1 out of 4 times at odds of 10 to 1, right? Just do the math, right? You're
it's only half the equation.
You're printing
nothing.
Yeah,
without, right. It's like
totally.
Kenny, what do you think like are a couple of mistakes that the public makes when it comes to college hoops? Like obviously, the whole point of inplayLIVE and inplayLIVE Pro is to open your eyes to opportunities that are a bit unique and change the mindset and, you know, flip the thing on its head. But what are you seeing from the public or the average bettor who's just watching and betting maybe pregame or on heavy favorites or something like that? Like what's a popular area of loss in college hoops?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't know anything about the players. I do zero handicapping of the games. I don't know if they're going by popular opinion. I don't even know who the popular schools are. I know the Zaga game everybody goes nuts for, every week, and they tend to blow teams out, or they barely cover. There are books, just to give a small little tip away to people, but there are books such as PointsBet that have accumulators, which are a nice little thing, and just something I did last year just for fun. I didn't make crazy profit on it, but I bet on Gonzaga every week with the accumulator. What the accumulator is basically if Gonzaga is a 15-point favorite and they win by 13, you lose 2 units. So if you set your unit number at $10, I would lose $20. If I do the same thing and Gonzaga wins by 30, then you win 15 units because it would take the 30 points minus the spread of the 15 and you win 15 units. So I did pretty well with that overall. But that's really just taking the fan favorite Gonzaga. But really, I couldn't even speak to people's strategies with betting pregame. I think anybody that bets any sport pregame you might as well throw darts at a dartboard, and you're laying minus 110, so it's going to be a losing proposition over time.
Right. I think from that same note, I know obviously the last thing that we want to do on this podcast is insult a pregame sports handicapper who's a true professional.
Yeah.
Right. There are some amazing pregame pros out there that genuinely make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a year, only betting on theoretical pregame spreads. And I think there's a lot of those pregame professionals that very specifically focus on NCAA basketball, or that's actually their most profitable season of the year. And from my standpoint, and from kind of inplayLIVE standpoint, I have nothing against those people whatsoever. But it's the same thing I say about NCAA football. You take a whole series of collegiate athletes, which means there's a ridiculous amount of turnover on one team.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, how many of the same players are there?
Yeah.
The turnover's so high. So you've got a team of essentially entirely new players playing another team of entirely new players. And with 340 teams, you don't play everyone in a year. So potentially, if you're playing in March Madness or an out-of-division tournament, you're facing a team that you haven't played in years, of entirely new players. And to that I say, how do you handicap that? And to Kenny's point, it's like you're throwing darts at a board there and just hoping that they cover. You're flipping a coin at a losing number over time. Of course, public perception can manipulate the lines and create that theoretical value. But from my standpoint, I look at it and I go, what an amazing opportunity we have with a sport like NCAA basketball, where literally the handicappers in Vegas are guessing as to where that spread should be. You flick the game on, and it can just be one of those 130 games that you tune into and you go, this pregame perception and this public perception is dead wrong. Mm-hmm. And you know it as soon as you're watching it. And then you don't necessarily even go money line spread over under, but you go, what are the little parameters within this game that I can now capitalize on based on, these entirely new players playing these entirely new players that the handicappers were guessing on.
And then times that by triple of what college football is, or 10x of what the NFL is, where there's just so many teams that the further you kind of get away from the sun, if you will, it's like they don't know what's going on. If you have Vegas guessing, then you got to feel like you're in a pretty good spot, right? Yeah,
especially when you're seeing it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Cool.
Any last notes to add there, Kenny, on college hoops?
Nope. I'm just looking forward to tomorrow, and I hope to see as many people there for the live stream as possible.
Yeah, so inplayLIVE Pro, if you are a member of inplayLIVE, or if you're thinking about joining, you can join tonight or tomorrow and dive into Kenny's live stream, wager with him as he's wagering. Like I said, he's on a premium subscription, inplayLIVE Pro, which includes his live streams and as well as and other professionals as well. So we're super excited to have really identified what a great sports betting professional Kenny is. He's made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, so he's done extremely well, and we're super pumped to have you on board, Kenny, and thanks for doing the second podcast with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Cheers, Kenny. We'll see you tomorrow. So yeah, that'll be fun. Full day of college hoops tomorrow. What else should we talk about today? It's also Thanksgiving this week.
Thanksgiving
in the United States of America. So We've got 3 NFL games going on.
Yep.
Maybe you want to share with everyone what you're doing on Thursday.
Yeah,
because that's kind of a unique opportunity too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, first and foremost, NCAA kicking off or tipping off rather the day before Thanksgiving is super exciting. There's no other sports on tomorrow. There's no NFL. Usually the MAC is on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
It's not on tomorrow.
It's a hoop day.
Yeah, it's a hoop day. And then Thursday, American Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone celebrating in the United States. The United States. NFL Thanksgiving Thursday, apparently, you can't quote me on this, I think you've heard this before, is the number 1 teaser day of the year for any sport. Everyone makes teasers on Thursday.
You're probably sitting around with your family, just shooting the breeze and then throw a couple picks together, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of rec bettors probably tuning in because they have the day off work. They're, kind of... It's like known that the football is on the TV. Like it's the one day you don't have to fight to have the TV on.
Yeah. And I'm going to totally spoil my luck right now. I've never missed a Thanksgiving Thursday teaser. I've hit one every year, and I've always picked all 3 games, and usually I add an over-under in there for, a 4th, 5th, or even 6th pick.
That's ballsy.
So I'm going to lose tomorrow now that I said that. But yeah, so people they go like this. Right? This is how the pregame recreational bettor goes. They go, okay, this is what I like in the morning game. Doesn't pay what I want it to. So then they're like, what can I add in the afternoon? And they're like, oh, but I like this in the night game. Yeah. And everyone strings together parlays and teasers for Thanksgiving Thursday. So I'm going to do that myself from a rec standpoint to see if I can keep the streak going. I'm pretty confident I will lose. But more exciting than that is we have had a unbelievable amount of people from the outside asking us for trials. They want to, and people, I think I've said this before. Hey, give me a winner tonight. I'll pay you double tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like just dumb stuff. But we're super excited to launch our Instagram live tomorrow for the Lions-Texans game. So Thursday, sorry.
Yeah.
For Thanksgiving. So the Lions-Texans kicks off at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Pacific. Shortly after kickoff, I'm going to go live for the entirety of the first half. And the whole idea there is that if you're not a member of inplayLIVE, you don't need to wager at all. In fact, we don't even recommend that you wager because you haven't gone through our course yet. But we're going to be giving away a whole bunch of strategies, core curriculum, and philosophies during the live stream. And essentially what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be telling you guys what I'm taking as I'm taking it, so that if you want to wager at your own risk, of course you're welcome to do that, but ultimately really get some of the theory and philosophy into how we make money sports betting over time.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue if the game will be profitable. It's not really the point.
It's not the point at all.
Yeah, the point more so is that you're getting some insight on how to be successful with sports betting and capitalizing on trends and player motivations and all that kind of stuff. So really, really excited about that. And then we're releasing a Black Friday sale at the end of that live stream so that you can join inplayLIVE and hopefully be able to live stream and wager with us more often. But that is your trial. It's coming this Thursday, and we hope to see everyone there. And like I said, we're going live on our Instagram account, so definitely make sure you follow us on Instagram, and as soon as we go live, you get notified. I've had a whole bunch of DMs of people saying, how can I prepare and what books do I need to be ready? And I think the simple answer to that question is be ready to have every book available to you in your area. Specifically for NFL, we like to use any book that has the Canby odds provider. So that's 888 Sport, Unibet, Leo Vegas, Cosimo, and then in the States that's DraftKings, Unibet. There's a few others, Mr. Green. I think Bet Rivers is on the list as well. But you just need one of those books. Bet365, if you're in New Jersey, is amazing. In Colorado, sports betting. But if you're in the States, FanDuel, 100%.
Yeah, no kidding.
Last night, we hit Robert Woods live 4 separate times in his yards. We took him right before half. He got a 20-yard catch on that drive because the reason we took him is we knew that the Rams were trying to get into field goal range and the likelihood of him being targeted was quite high. So he covered at half. We took him again after half. He covered on the next drive. We took him again. We covered on the next drive. And then we took his over on receptions and he covered on the next play. we were getting minus 120, 1.83
Yeah.
odds. People on FanDuel were getting as high as 3.5 or plus 250 for his next catch.
Insane.
Which is insane. So FanDuel's player props are really, really incredible. So anyways, my point being is that I might not even call out the books that you have in your area, but you need to see what I'm identifying and see where those value opportunities are so that you can capitalize in the future.
Yeah, and go to the website, watch the free webinar that kind of previews what you'll be, what the whole idea of inplayLIVE is.
Yeah.
Check out some of the posts and the social stuff like that. There's clues and things like that hidden between, but make sure to tune in for that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you'll be live for the rest of the day for members. So
for members, we're going to be live on Thursday for one of the two games for sure.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things is that there's a perception. We've talked about losing a lot.
Yeah.
Right. There's a perception that you're going to win, and when there's one game on at one time, the odds of that game actually falling into your profitable or successful system are actually very low.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's 7 games on in the early slate of games on Sunday morning, oftentimes I find 1 to 3 that are working. And this last Sunday, it was really clear. None were working.
Right.
And I don't just have one system. I'm doing a whole series of different things. None of them were working. And I think I was down about 2 units after Joe Burrow got injured because I was trying one of my strategies in the Bengals game thinking it would be very effective. It didn't work out. Then Joe Burrow went down. We capitalized on Joe Burrow going down, but other than that, not that I ever cheer for that, other than that, I just waited. And then the Titans money line, hit us in the face. Like, I think we got 5.75 plus 475 on the Titans to win that game live. And we dove all over that, and then bam, you're back in business. So ultimately what I'm getting at is the odds that the Lions-Texans game or any one specific game is profitable are actually low.
Right.
It's about recognizing that you need to take a step back and not wager on it and just wait for a great opportunity, or okay, this is working. We need to attack and make some money here while we have this opportunity.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if a game you leave a game plus 1 unit, are you thrilled and over the moon? Maybe not, but you're plus 1 unit. Or maybe you didn't even wager, you didn't lose anything, but there's a big difference between, I think that sometimes people think because we're betting in play that we're constantly taking things every single game. And a few weeks ago we hit on this pretty hard, is that it's like, hey, maybe sometimes you need to take a step back and focus on the quality and not necessarily quantity, just because it's in play and the opportunities are there every single drive or every single game. You don't have to be on all of them, right? And it's like, get tuned in to where areas that are good, good opportunities.
One of the biggest draws of gambling as a whole is the thought that if you don't wager, you miss that opportunity to make money.
Yeah.
What if Black 22 hits on this spin and I didn't put my money down on it?
Yeah.
And then what happens is, inevitably, it's like a psychological thing. You walk through a casino floor, and somewhere on a roulette wheel, you start just looking for Black 22. Your number.
Yeah.
Whatever your number is, you start looking for your number. And then you see Black 22, and you don't go, oh, there's Black 22, cool. You go, fuck, Black 22's right there. I missed it. And then you think, I don't want to miss the next opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's where there's an addictive element to it and that kind of thing. And I think there's a perception, even amidst our members inside of inplayLIVE, where it's like, the games are on, Andrew's making money, everyone else is making money, I need to not miss out on making money, so I need to take a whole bunch of things right now. When in reality, I've said this a lot of times, sometimes the best wager you take is the one that you didn't take at all.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about loving sports, I think, that goes hand in hand with this, is if you just, I never put the device away, but if you, quote unquote, put the device away, because I'm always still looking, and you just enjoy the game, it's like, it's still awesome, it's still football. Whether that's cheering for your teaser that you made from a rec standpoint before the game started, whether that's cheering for your fantasy team, just keeping a sharp eye and going, you know what? I'm not confident with any of these wagers. I'm just shooting blanks right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for a really great opportunity. That's what we did on Sunday, and then Sunday night rolled around, and we did really, really well in the Chiefs-Raiders game, and we would have done, extremely well if the Raiders had have actually won that game. They came back, they got the lead, and then obviously Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and and that was that, right?
That was a good game.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we'll leave it at that. But so yeah, just a reminder: go to Instagram, Facebook, website inplayLIVE.com. Check out the webinar before the free Instagram live stream on Thursday. Join us tomorrow for college hoops. InPlay Live members or anyone joining, you can do that right away. And use the promo code Ritzker Podcast if you want to save 40%. And join up for a huge week of games ahead. There's going to be a ton of opportunities. So
it's going to be a lot of fun. All the links that Ritzker just described are in the description below. So you can click on any of those to join our free training, to join InPlay Live, and to get that 40% discount using promo code Ritzker Podcast.
And Kenny's new masterclass.
Yes, sir.
Wicked. All right.
Bang.
Have a good week.